Welcome to the fastest daf in town. Today, Metzia of Daf Lamed Hey. We're going to begin on Lamed Hey Amud Aleph, about 14 lines from the top. Rav Huna bar Tachlif Mishmid Rabbi Imar. He said that the reish of the Seifa, which we'll see in a moment, is a Tiyufta Rav Huna. Now, we mentioned in yesterday's daf that Rav Huna made a statement, and that was that a person who has this mashkon, he needs to actually make a shvua that it's not in his reshus, because it's possible he's lying, and as the Gemara says, maybe he just wants it for himself, and therefore, because of that, he may be lying to say it was stolen, and even if he would be chayiv, so he's just going to say this so he could keep the item for himself, and therefore, even so, he's chayiv to make a shvua. So this we were discussing whether there's support to that or it's a question. So now we're going to have a tiyufta on this statement. Why? Because sel bisani alav shtayim hayashav. So he said this is a quote from this in the middle of the previous Amud. So he said that a sela I borrowed shekel hayashav, and the amount of the mashkon was a shekel, and therefore it's actually I gave you more. Okay, so let's see this inside. Was worth 2. It was actually a sella. So the din is potter. Now the imisal Rav Huna, if it's true that the one who's guarding the shomer, the one who's watching the bikadon, so if you're saying that he already has to make a shvua that's not in his reshus, so he should say that since he makes that shvua, why don't we also have him continue to make another shvua, which is a gilgal shvua? Now, even though a person may not necessarily be chayv in a particular shvua, but once he's already making shvuos, we see from the dinim of sota that we can allow gilgal shvua. So because of that, this is brought down in Kedushin, it's a din deraisa of gilgal shvua, so why does he just make that shvua? Why don't we say that he's potter? It must be because he didn't make a shvua either that it was in his reshus. So it's a kasha and Rav Huna. So Rav Ashi Amrisal Shmaisik made Rav Kahana. This was said, the Armali said to hey ba'ama minoi. So what does that mean? It says Rashi, Hantani potter b'ma minoi loivul amal v'shin reshusai. Normally, you're right. He normally would have to make a shvur that's not his reshus. But over here, the reason why he's doesn't have to is because the lova trusts the malva that it's not in his reshus. So he actually believes that that's the case. So again, what's happening over here? We're talking about I lent you money, so I'm the malva, but you gave me the malva your mashkon. So the lova trusts the malva. Don't worry, I know that it's not in your reshus. So therefore, in that situation, that's the reason why he cannot make a shvua about the value of the mashkon, because he's not making any other shvua either. So there'll be no potential giggle shvua. So Gemara answers. So that's the Gemara's answer. So maybe we believe the lova bars the malva believes in malva nami baha kama hayashav. Then he should also believe him how much it's worth. I understand why the argument how much it's worth. If the lova really believes everything about the malva, knows I'm sure it's not in your reshus, so you should also believe the malva how much it's worth. No, lukim le begave. The malva didn't assess its worth, and therefore, since he didn't assess its worth, there's no way the lova can trust that the malva would know how much the mashkon was worth. So he says, okay, in the hemni malva leloive, the kim le begave. So maybe the malva should trust the lova how much it's worth. And he says, no, lo mehimin le, not the best relationship. So the lova trusts the malva doesn't trust the lova. So why does the borrower trust the lender? Why are we saying that this is the case? It's kind of hard to understand that we're painting the picture that the lova trusts the malva, but the malva doesn't trust the lova. Why would we say that? The answer is like this: lova mekayim be b'malva, because the borrower was mekayim to the malva tumas yisharim tanchem, that the wholeness of those will be consoled. Malva mekayim beloive v'selef boigdim yishalim, that the plunderers will be destroyed. So Hashem gave him a bracha of wealth, so he's trusted, and therefore that's the reason why the Lova trusts him. So he's basically saying it must be the fact that Hashem granted you with wealth, that you can lend money out. Maybe that's a good enough reason that I should trust you. Says Rashi, Mikros at Tumas Yisharim Tanchem, Imlo Sha'adam Neman V'Yashahu. If this guy wasn't a nice person, Lohim Mashrin Oiso Min Hashemayim, Hashem would not have given him this great blessing. Tumas Yisharim Tanchem. So it's an interesting svara. So that's how we answer this. Question 3. Sela Halvisani love. The Sela I lent to you, right? That's how much the loan was. However, Shtayim Hayashav, but the Mashkon by the Malva it was worth 2. It was actually the same amount. So Potter. So Ma Hikshu Mihai Bebal or Rav Huna the Yerma Mashmina Isa Shua Shana Bershoso Matirutzai. So the kash is, if in fact the Malva has to make a shvua that's not as Rishos, so we should have a Gilgal shvua, also how much it's worth. And Rand says, no, we're talking about where he did not have to make such a shvua, because the Lova trusted the Malva, and therefore he didn't have to make a shvua of Shena B'Shusai. But if you didn't trust him, then talking right, then in fact you would make such a make such a shvua. Okay, let's hold on for 1 second. Question TA21. Loy v'shetayin sel v'sani love shtayim hayashav. The mashkon is really worth 2. V'hamal ve'omer sel hayashav. That the mashkon was the same amount as the loan. The mashkon wasn't worth more. Ha'im haloy v'yochel yishava as hamal ve'lashmias hamal ve'kama hayashav. Can he make a shvua? So Gemara answers, as we said, sarach lishava gilgal mishvua shdein rishusai. If he has to make if you hold he makes a shvua shdein rishusai, then you can make a gilgal shvua. However, if the Lova trusts the malva and that he's not in rishuso, then he doesn't make a shvua on this either. So that is TA 2021. So it's kind of similar to question 3. Okay, let's continue. All right, so we have a pretty famous sugi over here. Hahu gavri di afkid kepe or kepi gabi chavri. So it's a person who gave a set of nizamim, Rashi says, earrings to someone as a safekeeping. So Amalei havili kepi. Eventually he went back to him and said, "Can you please give me the earrings that you're watching for me?" So Amalei liyadana hecha usivnu. I don't know where I put them. I can't remember where they are. My house is a big mess. I'm not sure where these earrings are. So let's come to Abnach. When Amalei kol liyadana. Anyone who says I don't know, pshiyusahi. That's considered to be negligence, right? That not knowing is not an excuse. So zil shalim. So you have to go and pay for the value of these earrings. Lo shilim, the guy didn't pay. So also Rav Nachman agbe padne mine. So he took, these were apparently pretty expensive earrings. So he took away his mansion, his house, which had the value, let's say, of these earrings. L'soif ishtakach kefe. At the end, these earrings were found. So the question is, can he get his mansion back, and what's the value of these earrings? So the Gemara says, the akor, the earrings increased in value. So can he basically just keep them, because after all, the guy did give over the value of the mansion before the earrings were up in value. So Rav Nachman, hadri kepi l'maraihu v'hadra apadna l'mara. Actually, no. You cannot keep these earrings. Rather, you have to give them back to the original owner, and then once you do that, you get your house back. Amarava, Haviyasvina committed Rav Nachman. So I was sitting in front of him, and he was being done a similar case. Upirkin hamafkid havi. They're learning our parak, right? They're learning our masachta. The amrula shlim v'rotzla shava. He said, I don't understand. when it comes to a shaymer, says Rashi, the kanik fela, and he says, you know what? I know I could make a shvua, but I'm not going to make a shvua. I'm just going to pay you. Once you find the ganav, since you paid, that's it. You get the kefil. So why don't we say the same thing, that he should be kaina the increase of value of the earrings. He should be able to keep the earrings. So that's a good question. However, vo haduli, he didn't answer me. Apparently because he didn't think it was a good question. It's good that he didn't even answer it. So my time, when it came to the case of the shomer, so he said, I'm not going to make a shvua, because that would be tircha of the beis din. That would trouble the beis din. Instead, he says, I'm just going to pay you. So since he wasn't matriach the beis din, we reward him and say that he's able to keep, he gets the kefil. Ma'ashen came over here, where this guy caused trouble in the beis din. He didn't pay, we had to have it confiscated. So in that situation, he's not going to benefit. So therefore, that's the reason why he didn't respond, because over here, he was matriach the beis din. So a memra, apparently, the fact that Rav Nachman said that you give it back must be the summer Rav Nachman to shuma hadar. That whenever you have a shuma, which Rashi says, nichse loive, the possessions of the borrower, shishoma beis l'bal chayiv, that they basically confiscated, they took it away because the guy didn't pay, so he took away his mansion. Chayzun olav, im noisin mais l'bal chayiv, that if they come up later on with money, so then this guy has to give it back. So shuma's hadar, just like over here, that we give back the palace to the guy. No, shani hasam de shuma b'tois havi. Over here was a mistake. The kahavi kepi mikara, because he actually had these earrings from the beginning. He thought they were gone. The truth is they weren't lost. He always had them. So therefore it was considered to be a mistake from the beginning. Amri Nahardoi Shuma Hadar, he says that you could give it back on Treyas Yarchi. You have shait, you have 12 months. So if you had something confiscated from you, so you have 12 months to be able to, let's say, get the value of money so that you'll be able to get it back. However, after those 12 months, that's it. I'm from Anarda, it was spherically, and I hold Shuma Hadar Oilum, that the malva must return the confiscated item anytime. Again, the fact that we took this item away, so obviously he's not happy that he lost it. So therefore, as long as he can come back and compensate, so then he'll be able to get his item back. Okay. So, Pshita Shamule Labal Chayiv. Let's say they made this evaluation and confiscate the item from the borrower. So now the malva has it. Now this guy who has this thing, he went v'shamul abal chayiv didei, and he also had obligations, and then it was confiscated from him. So it was I was a borrower and a lender at the same time. So when I lent money, so this item was confiscated and given to me. But then all of a sudden, I also didn't have the money, and then this same item was confiscated and given to the guy I owe money to. So I'm reading lay, well, adif at megaver di asis mine. You're basically no different. So you have to give the land back too if he comes up with the money. So there's no difference how many times this is done. It shouldn't make any difference. However, when the malva gets this confiscated item, if afterwards, not that it was confiscated from him, but rather zavna, let's say he sold it, orta was inherited, v'yoy b'matana as a gift, v'adi hanimikara daita de aranachos. These people was the intention for the land, v'lava daita de zuzi nachos, and they did not want the money. And therefore, the idea is that once these items were given over, so then the other person cannot claim it back. Shamle l'isha. Let's say this was done for the sake of a woman. The in siba, and she gets married. So Rashi says, afilu lo shemasan Labal b'ksuvasa liyos nichsi tzayin barzel shein kroin labal el ikvasa la'atzma. She held it herself liyos nichsi malug hakeren shalova bal chaperes. So in Siva she got married, in which again, if let's say it was confiscated to a woman, and then it's like nichsi malug, and now she has the item, the land, and the husband can eat these fruits after once they're married. Oh, shomu minei the isha. Let's say the woman owed money and it was taken from her in Siva, and then he got married. Umesa, then she died. So Baal b'nechse ishto keachavi. So the Baal is considered to like the din of keach, and lo mahader, the husband doesn't give back the land. The lo mahadri in the lay. What do you mean doesn't give it back? The Yomer Rav Yosi Barachinim B'Usha Skinu, it was Masakin and Usha, says Rashi Shahisa Sanhedrin B'Usha. Usha is where the Sanhedrin was. So it was established there. If a woman sells her nechse malug, in which the husband has right to the peros in her husband's lifetime, umesa, then she dies, habal moitzim. The husband does have the ability to take it out of the lekuchos' hands. So we make the husband like the first lokeach before she sold the land to anyone thereafter, so she can get therefore he can get the karka from lekuchos based on tekanas usha. Back in the Gemara on Lamed Hayam at Beis. So that's what we're saying. That the truth is that because of tekanas usha, lo mahader lo mahadrin lay. Okay, so the husband doesn't give the land back because of tekanas usha. Now, what happens? That was when it was confiscated. What happens if agbe ihu b'chayvo? The lova gave him the malva, the item, voluntarily, which means there was no tircha. Says Rashi, v'kamli ma'atzmo v'latrichu adin. He didn't cause any trouble for the base. So the lova voluntarily gave his item to the malva as a payment of the loan, and it was not confiscated by Beis Din. So pligi bo Rav Acha Ravina Chadaimer Hadra. One says that he can get it back. V'chadaimer lo Hadra. Mandir lo Hadra. Why not? Savar Hayz Vini Ma'alihu. It's a good sale. The Hamidaita the Nafshi Agbe, because he did it with his own consent. Mandir Hadra, it goes back to him. Several lo Zvini Ma'alihu. It's not a sale. The high the Agbe Medaite. He just didn't go because of embarrassment. And when are these fruits able to be consumed? Says Rashi, if they take away his land, they confiscated it, when are you able to eat the fruits? So by Omer Edav b'chasuma zachenlo, that the witnesses on the document that say that it's now yours, they're zoichet for you. Rav Omer mechi shalimu yimei achrazta, when the announcements are completed. It says Rashi, Lachar Tishim Yoim, after 90 days, Sheposek Hadin, the Beis Din Kaisvin ad Rachta Shtar Psak Din, they write a document, Anichse Loiva Shekol Makam Sheyimsum, wherever these possessions are, Mishlo Yikachim Moisim Lo Hashtar. As opposed to the Eid of Chasum, and Rashi says, Miyom Shenechtam Shtar Ha'ad Rachta Bebeis Din, okay. Let's look at question 4. So when can the malva take this? So according to Rabbi, as soon as this shtar, this adrachta, is in his hands. So that's answer number 1. As long as there's this shtar of adrachta, Rashi again said, is after 90 days. Okay. Or labayim shenechtam shtar ha'adrachta. Once the shtar is signed. So the day that the shtar is signed, even though it's not in your hands. And then a third answer, me'achar imei hachrazta, after the announcements. So after all the announcements were completed, then you can already start eating the peros. Okay. Same question, TB 22. So let's just look at it. Me'amasai oichel hamal v'peres sada shishamu lo habesim v'nechse haloiva. TB 22. So let's see what I wrote. B'shas ksivas adrachta, seizure document. B'shas nesinas ashtar adrachta. B'shas achrazasa, the time of the announcement. Okay. All right, let's continue. Let's see the next Mishnah. Says Metzia, so a person rents a cow from his friend. So now this guy is the renter, but instead of just keeping it for himself as a rental, v'shil acher, he ends up lending it out to someone else. So it's interesting. This guy is a soicher, and then this other guy he lent it to is a shoyl. Umeisa kedarka. And the animal died in a normal way. So what does that mean? So Rashi says, "Upater shahasoicher enu chay bo'insin." So it was a total oinus. So therefore, the renter is not chayiv in this case. So yeshava hasoicher shemeis kedarka. So all the renter needs to do is swear that in fact that's the case, that it was an oinus, and therefore he's not chayiv. Vashoyel yishal masoicher. However, we are dealing with a shomer because the shoyel. And since it died by the hands of the borrower, so he actually now has to pay the renter because the shoyel is going to be chayiv in oinsin. So therefore, he has to pay the renter. So it's kind of interesting. I rent an item; it's not even mine, and then I lend it to someone else, and then it dies as an oinus machmas malacha or machmas mesa kedarka, I should say. So therefore, it's an oinus. So I'm potter as a soicher, you as a shoyer chayiv, so you have to pay me. So I'm Yosi now. Ketzad halo oisa sechayra. How does that make sense? How is it possible you're going to make money with this cow? It's not even yours. Rather, the cow goes back to the owner, which basically means that he has a chiyuv to the shayl pays the owner, not the soicher. Says Gemara. Let's see. The guy who's a renter, how is he kind it? It's b'shvua. It's only, he makes a shvua, says Rashi, shehu nishba lamaskir. He makes a shvua to the one who lent it to him, who rented it to him. So v'namely maskil l'soicher, let the one who rents it say to the renter, dal ant, I'm removing you, v'dal shvua sach, I'm removing your shvua, v'anan mishta'ina dina bahadi shayel, and I'm just gonna deal with the shoyel. In other words, why would we say that the shoyel pays the soicher? Why can't the mashil, the one who lent out the item, say, listen, I'm just going to cut you out, the middleman. It's not by you. It didn't die by you. I don't care that you rented it from me. The reality is it died in the hands of the shoyel, so I'm just going to deal with the shoyel. Why can't he just do that? That's not how the renter was kainit, only with a shvua. It's mishas misa hudekani. He's kainit mishas misa when it died. Ushvua kidei hulahafis died to shaval bias. The whole purpose of the shvua is just to calm the bal bias down, but technically he doesn't even need to make a shvua. So that is how he answers. So Amar Rav Zera, Pamim shabalam mishal min kama pada isil soicher. It's possible that based on what our Mishnah said, you can end up paying a lot of cows to the renter. Ketzat. So hechidami. So agri mine mea yomi. Let's say you rented out a cow for 100 days. V'hadar shaylu mine tishim yomi. And then you turn to your friend and you lent it out 90 of those 100 days. And then hadar agri mine tamnin yomi. And then you go and borrow, you rent for 80 days. V'hadar shaylu mine shivim yomi. And then you lend it out so you can borrow it for 70. And it died within those 70 days. Those 2 times that it was borrowed, he's still chayiv, because he's chayiv for oinsin. So the fact is that he borrowed it twice. So therefore he should be chayiv for 2, even though it's the same animal. So Rashi explains this a little bit. It says, Reuven shesachar paro l'ship m'shimoin. So Reuven borrowed rented a cow from Shimon, Shiasa b'malacha mea yom, to do work with it for 100 days. V'chazer Shimon v'yarmelo asi mi taiva, do me a favor, v'ashileni oisa tishim yom. So the same guy says, you know what, can I borrow it for 90 days? Minameh, out of the 100 days that I rented to you. So basically, it's like, I'm renting it to you for 100 days, and then I'm giving it back to you for 90 of those 100 days. After 90 days, so just give it right back. I'll keep it for 90 days, and then you'll be able to use it for the last 10. And I'll just keep it now again for the first 90. And then that's what he did. Says Rashi, the Mali Balo, Mali Acher, Imesa Eitzel Shoyel. So again, according to this logic, the din is you be chayav each time. So Rashi says, "V'shimon hashoyel mishalmo dalad paras 4. Shtayim nechlotot lo b'shvil shtei paras shulos sheshil Ruven. 2 of them are because of that which he borrowed, and skipping a couple lines. Shtei tvios al shtei shilos shtei tvios al shtei schiros. Okay, fine. So let's go back to the Gemara. So Amrulei Rav Acham Adiftu Ravina Michti. Chada Pari here. We're only talking about the same cow. Ayel of Afka Meschiris Val Sheila Afka Mesheila Val Schiris. They went from borrowing to renting, back and forth. So it's the same one. So you shouldn't be chayav 4. That doesn't make sense. Rashi says, "Well, Inyan Tashum Namli Shalmli Parachas." You should only have to pay 1. Normally, Mi Isla Par Be'ena Denemli Hachi. You can only say that if it's Be'en, if it's here. Then you can say, Taka, there's only 1 animal, but the animal is not here, it's dead. So therefore, it's possible you can collect more. Mar Ravashi Omer Ein Lo Lehen El Shtei Paris. You only need to pay back 2. Chada de Sheil v'chada de Schiros. Shum Sheil Achasi v'shum Schiros Achasi. That even though you rented it twice, it's considered like 1. And then you borrowed it twice, it's really like 1. The Sheil Kani Lagamri. That when you borrow it, it's acquired to the rent legamri the schiros. Aved bayimei schirute. Umahadule lamara. You do your rental, and then afterwards you return it back to the owner. So it's questionable whether you can you'll be chayav multiple or just again a small amount. Okay, nothing here. Not on TA 22 or 23. Adkan.